messing with your printer, you want to be able to at least just hear what you should be doing step by step. So an audio walkthrough might be good for somebody who needs to download on an iPod or stream it online. That can be done very easily with the mobile app.
The way we want to do this is that it's going to require a very large PR campaign. It's going to take work between multiple departments in order to gain gain attention from the customers and throughout the company of how we're going to integrate this.
So, we all live in an increasingly digital world. We have to utilize social networking and other sites on the internet to make this sexy, make it useful for all the users who already have HP products and those who will come to HP. By giving them the option to have this app and to show how many functions it has and how useful it is, we can show the whole world and show all possible customers that they want to be HP customers. That will save you money in the end and will earn a lot more money.
The app itself is pretty marketable as it is. It's free. It's available on most, if not all, phone carriers, including iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. And then you could also just list out the things it already has. It has all the same aspects that the HP site already has in the same app, and you can use it at any time. But also, you can use anything from social media to gain awareness, or even small things such as including information leaflets on the new HP products that would utilize the QR codes, and also send out automatic emails whenever they register their products on HP.com. So through the use of reformatting your PDFs in order to make the chunking easier to load and easier to search, using QR codes in order to make the registering easier, and also a way to make the app more user-friendly, and by including more multimedia options for more uses and easier deliverables.
How's Paul feeling right about now?
Pretty good. He's more self-reliant. He feels like, even though he's not tech savvy, he feels like HP has provided him enough tools to where he can solve the problems that he needs to. And since he's more self-reliable, he doesn't need to go to the help line, which would cost money for HP. So now, all the resources you already have that you've already built up, you don't need to build any more or disregard that, saving you money on the developments you could have used. And also, you're saving money from people that aren't calling the help line.
So now Paul is self-reliant. He feels good. He's not tech savvy yet, but he knows how to use this app. And so it makes him feel a little bit better about himself. He's going to tell his wife, he's going to tell his family and all his friends, and they're going to bring in more customers. Now you're saving money on support, and you're hiring less people to man those phone lines. This app might cost a lot in the short term, but in the end, you're going to be able to get a lot more revenue, and people are going to know that HP is supporting them, and they're going to support HP.
That was our presentation. We'll take questions now.
Okay, Meredith, do you have any questions for him?
Yeah, I do. So a couple questions that I have or a couple of thoughts that I wanted to get your input on. When you talked about the animation piece, and you talked about like YouTube and videos and things like that, do you have any thoughts on the difference between pros and cons of videos or the audio walkthrough versus like animation? So that would be, animation where there are no people, and it's, video versus animation. So any thoughts on pros and cons of each of those?
I think that you can, younger users are going to absolutely love animation, but older users might find it a little bit ridiculous. But I think any good how-to video can incorporate, function and ease of use, as well as important information about the products. And I think animation might draw in younger users. What do you think?
Yeah, audio and visual, the videos are probably a little bit easier to do at the moment, I would assume, since there are many apps and technology that you can use to stream content. As far as animations, I think that would take more man hours, more time to work out, and it would take a little bit longer to load through the app.
But it would be catchy and interesting for everyone, depending on your artist.
Okay. Another question on the QR code. So I think when you mentioned one of you had mentioned that.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any thoughts on, if that takes you to the product line where all the documentation, even though the documentation is chunked, how would they get directly to the content that they're looking for? So if the QR code takes them to one generic spot for the product line, how would they, like if they were looking for troubleshooting information, for example, how do they know where to get there? So any thoughts on how to drill them down or navigate them beyond just the main site to the product line?
Well, the QR code, by taking it to the product page, would take you to all the information you would need. So while there wasn't a search function in the original PDF, there would be. So if you were to look through the troubleshoot options, if you were to search for them, and there's also the clickable table of contents that the PDFs didn't have originally. So it
It would
requires
take you
much
directly
faster.
to the information through easy to understand topics that were just, a few words, and that would kind of usher him along or usher Paul along the process to finding his information that he wants. There's FAQ and frequently asked questions, and those are all in the topics part of the app. That would be an easy way for him to see and find what he wants.
And also a positive for the chunking is that each individual content is going to be separate, which means if you were to click on one part, it would be much faster to load since you wouldn't be loading the entire document.
You'd just be loading the part that you wanted.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have right now. If there are other questions in the audience, that might spark some more questions that I might have.
Well, in terms of the video, I think they are correct that seems to be the way instruction is going. I spent all summer working with Cengage Publishing because they just produced their first, they're calling it a tech book. So instead of being your traditional textbook on how to write research papers, it's a tech book that is a collection of videos on different aspects of writing research papers, accompanied by a searchable database of resources, and then a quiz bank that they can access that has an answer key embedded in it. So that seems to be the direction everybody's going.
But if you got a celebrity like Leonard Nimoy, somebody with a great voice, I think it would really make people want to listen and be interesting to everyone.
Yeah. Interesting ideas. Okay.
So what did you think about their presentation?
I thought they did a really good job. Would you like me to give feedback, kind of pros, cons, that kind of thing?
Please.
Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I haven't kind of organized all my thoughts, so I'll just kind of ramble through them. So let's talk about the things I liked, and I'm sure those of you in the audience probably have other things that you like, but I did like the interactive element of the presentation. So you guys talking with each other, sometimes you would ask each other a question to clarify. I liked that because sometimes your audience might have the same question. So the interactive element was really good. I think that the speaking tone and style was very strong. You had a command of the audience. You had me engaged. You sounded like you knew what you were talking about. So I think the voice is very strong and very professional. Let's see. Oh, what else? I think I liked the scenarios that you had. You had quite a few, like the Paul element of, poor Paul with the stubble on his beard, and then, stuck in, the analogy with the Disneyland. I think that made it personable as far as, your audience, or at least me. I'm trying to know the customer experience, and you talking about, throwing something that taking 4 minutes just to, enter a serial number and get to the right spot. I mean, that really helps make the customer experience live and real to me. So those use of those types of examples and the analogy and the pictures made it a real thing. So you really see what the customer is experiencing, and you feel the pain of the customer. I liked your outline of 3-step solutions. That makes it seem very easy. So here, in the, the couple weeks ago, because you brought in a lot of the elements that